Well, welcome to the 700 Club. Hurricane Adelia made landfall as a Category 3 storm this morning, and it's threatening to unleash catastrophic storm surges and heavy rains.
Florida residents along the Gulf Coast were ordered to evacuate before the hurricane arrived. Those who chose not to leave are now on their own. Dale Hurd brings us the story.
Adelia's fury. Maximum sustained winds of 130 miles per hour as it approached landfall this morning. Overnight, people in at least 30 Florida counties were placed under evacuation orders, with as many as 300,000 residents vacating their homes. Some residents boarded up windows and filled sandbags.
My son's a law enforcement officer. They have ordered a lot of body bags. They're expecting some fatalities.
Governor Ron DeSantis warned residents in coastal communities who stayed that they would be on their own.
If you do choose to stay in one of the evacuation zones, first responders will not be able to get you until after the storm has passed.
As Adelia gained strength in the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, authorities warned of a catastrophic storm surge and destructive winds as the storm moved ashore. FEMA was also urging families to follow the evacuation orders and get out while there was still time.
If you are in a storm surge warning area, it could mean just traveling 10 or 20 miles to get out of the most significant impact areas.
The utility Tampa Electric is bringing in tens of thousands of workers from more than 20 states as far away as Maine to help restore power after the storm. And 5,500 National Guardsmen are also on high alert. A hurricane watch has been issued for South Carolina, and tropical storm warnings stretch from Florida's east coast up to the North Carolina-Virginia border. And Florida's capital, Tallahassee, is facing the rare threat of hurricane conditions.
This is going to be something that will leave significant impacts, and particularly in this part of the state.
Adelia is forecast to cross the Florida peninsula and then drench parts of Georgia and the Carolinas on Thursday. Both Georgia and South Carolina have announced states of emergency, and CBN's Operation Blessing has been preparing disaster relief, working to have supplies ready to help those in need in the region. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Well, Operation Blessing has pre-positioned teams to help with the relief effort. We have a warehouse facility in Florida. That's where we're pre-staging our rescue teams, our disaster relief teams. If you want to be a part of the disaster relief effort, all you have to do is call us, 1-800-700-7000. Just say, I want to give to the Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund. You can write to us at CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23463. Just put Disaster Relief Fund on the memo line of a check. Your gift will go into the Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund. Do it now. Well, in other news, legal trials and investigations could be major issues for both former President Trump and President Biden in the 2024 election. John Jessup has that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
That is right, Gordon. The former president faces multiple trials in the months ahead, taking place during the presidential campaign. And right here in Washington, House Republicans could take up an impeachment inquiry into President Biden and his son Hunter. CBN White House correspondent Abigail Robertson has the story.
As Congress plans to return to D.C. in 2 weeks, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy claims Republicans have mounting evidence of financial misconduct from President Joe Biden and his son Hunter that could lead to a possible impeachment investigation.
If you look at all the information we've been able to gather so far, it is a natural step forward that you would have to go to an impeachment inquiry.
McCarthy claimed on Fox News that there is a culture of corruption within the Biden family that involves bribery and millions of dollars going to the family through multiple shell companies.
He said he never had any dealings with his son's business, and that he never even talked to him. We've now found out not only did he call into the meetings, he went to dinner, and after the dinner, Hunter Biden got a new Porsche, that there was $3.5 million transferred. We now found out as he was a sitting vice president, the family created 20 shell companies. They received 16 of 17 payments from Romania while he was vice president.
Former President Donald Trump, who was impeached by the House twice, chimed in on Truth Social, calling Biden a stone-cold crook and telling Republicans in Congress to impeach the bum or fade into oblivion. President Biden, who started the work week welcoming kids back to school in D.C., continues to deny he had any involvement in Hunter's overseas business dealings. According to a new Yahoo News YouGov poll, 45% of respondents said they believe the Biden family is corrupt, compared to 53% who believe the Trump family is corrupt. When asked which family is more corrupt, 46 respondents said the Trumps, compared to 36 who said the Bidens. That same poll found 64% of Americans believe Hunter Biden did something illegal.
We can't have a convicted felon as our nominee for president and expect we're going to win.
Presidential candidate Chris Christie reminded voters Hunter Biden is not on the ballot.
The fact is that the two people who would be on the ballot if we nominated Donald Trump will be Donald Trump and Joe Biden, not Hunter Biden. And the fact is, it's the conduct of the people who are running for office that's going to matter the most. And we may find out more about President Biden in the months to come. But the fact is, right now, Donald Trump is out on bail in 4 different jurisdictions.
Thus far, Biden's campaign has avoided speaking about the legal troubles facing Hunter, and they're also not focused on Trump's issues either, claiming they want an independent justice system handling both of them. Reporting from the White House, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Thank you, Abigail. Now to another important issue, education. Some parents in Montgomery County, Maryland, not too far from here, are challenging a ruling by a judge claiming that a school district stripped them of the right to opt their children out of a gender curriculum with storybooks they say run counter to their religious beliefs. Those books include information about sexuality being taught as early as kindergarten. CBN News Washington correspondent Hillary Powell brings us that story.
We will not stop.
Standing united, parents of different faiths express one voice.
This diverse group of believers can restore parental notice and opt-outs from the books to ensure that parents have the final say in their children's education.
Holding signs that say, "Let parents parent," at a recent rally in Greenbelt, Maryland, parents wearing both hijabs and crosses say the Montgomery County Board of Education is unfairly removing parental notice and opt-outs for certain storybooks. At issue are books the school district introduced under a new inclusive curriculum for its pre-K to 5th grade students last fall. Parents say they feel as though the school district took away their ability to raise their children in a way that is consistent with their faith. They say they're asking a federal appeals court to restore parental preference. Parents say the books cover topics on gender transitioning and pronoun preferences for kids as young as pre-kindergarten. Though the parents say the books are inappropriate, last week a U.S. District Court dismissed their request to let their kids opt out of classes where the books are read and discussed.
We feel that we have the right to instruct our kids specifically on issues of family life and sexuality. And we found that we've had to, systematically and consistently prove to people that religion is real.
The parents are appealing the preliminary ruling. In the decision, the district writes the plaintiffs don't prove that the storybooks are impermissible indoctrination. Instead of letting children leave during the book readings, parents say this school year they're forced to stay. One legal expert tells CBN's Faith Nation that the court battles involving education, parents' rights, and religious liberty will probably go all the way to the nation's highest court.
I think inevitably we are going to see the nexus end up at the Supreme Court, where public education and parental rights come together, specifically so within the notion of sexual orientation and gender identity, because we've seen so many conflicts of this type.
Parents are still echoing their resolve to not quit.
When schools are going and teaching matters that go to the core of a child's own self-understanding, who that child is when he or she looks in the mirror, that goes to the core of the parent-child relationship, and parents are the first teachers.
For CBN News Washington, I'm Hillary Powell.
Thank you, Hillary. Gordon, it makes you wonder if the school district already has a policy to opt out, why some topics are deemed okay to opt out of and others not.
Well, the whole thing doesn't make any sense for a U.S. District Court judge to say you have to prove impermissible indoctrination opposed to influence What in the world is a school district doing in pre-K to 5th grade? These are young children, trying to influence them on sexuality. It shouldn't be part of the curriculum at all. It's an age inappropriate by definition, given the age group we're talking about. This shouldn't be. Parents should absolutely have a right to influence and control what their children are taught in our schools. That is a parental right. That's not a state right. That's not a school district right. That's not a teacher right. That's a parent right, and it needs to be absolutely respected in our culture.